everyone, and welcome to my Q&A. I had asked for questions for this Q&A when the channel hit 25,000 subscribers, and today we hit 28,000 subscribers, so it's going to be a little bit out of date. The channel's had a really great couple weeks, and again, I just wanted to do this as a way of saying thank you to everyone for all your support. I just want you to all know that I appreciate every view and every comment, and everyone who subscribed to the channel. Your support means a lot to me, and I just hope you all know that I don't take any of it for granted. And now I'll dive into some of the questions. At what point in life did you first start looking into cases? Is there a particular case that started at all? I don't remember a specific case. I started watching Unsolved Mysteries at a very inappropriate age, which I think a lot of people did. I was probably 5 or 6 when I started watching it. And I started watching Forensic Files when I was 10 or 11. And now that I think about it, I was watching Dateline in 2020, even before that age. So I don't really remember my first case. I've just always sort of been interested in cases and mysteries and all that sort of stuff. What inspired you to start your own channel? Was it something personal or just a passion? It's probably both, I'd say. I was one of those people who was really good at school. I liked studying, I liked reading, I liked writing. I really liked writing papers and doing research. And once I got out of grad school, I really wasn't using any of those skills, I guess. So I was kind of looking for a way to be able to do those things again. And true crime is something I've always been interested in. And there are a lot of stories that I'd want to tell. And I keep finding new ones all the time. So it's sort of a combination of those two things. Did any YouTube true crime channels inspire you to start your own? There are probably 2 I would say inspired me the most. One would be Kaylee Elise, just because her videos are so good. I just found it really inspiring and wanted to be able to not necessarily do the exact same thing she was doing, but make my own content and aspire to that level. And also Criminally Listed. I don't know if people necessarily know this, but the guy who does Criminally Listed started as a writer. He writes for top 10s and biographics. And I think there are a couple others, but I can't think of them right now. But I had seen an interview he did. I forget the website he did it with. It was an audio interview. But he was talking about how he was writing all this content for other people and just kind of decided that he was going to start doing it for himself. And just as someone who, like I said, I'm more of a writer and a researcher as opposed to I'm obviously not a professional host or a presenter. I don't naturally have the voice for it. And I personally think that Rob from Criminally Listed has a really good voice for his channel. Looking at his comment section, I guess some people don't agree with that, but just seeing someone else whose background wasn't necessarily being front of the camera, even though neither of us appear on camera, just kind of going for it and making their own content and doing things how they wanted to do them, just gave me a lot of confidence, because I had been toying with the idea of making a channel for well over a year before I actually did it, and he definitely kind of helped me make that jump and having confidence and being able to say, yeah, I'm more of a writer, but I can learn these other skills. I can hopefully develop these other skills in myself and find an audience. What's the meaning of your channel name and where did it come from? The channel name was a real split-second decision. I was just sort of coming up with I was basically just brainstorming words associated with true crime and crime shows and things like that. And then I basically I thought of it, I looked it up, there wasn't anything with that name. Right around the time I came up with the channel name, which isn't necessarily when the channel started, the podcast Casefile got really popular, or was starting to get really popular. So I kind of wish I'd done something different just because of that. I sort of settled on it. I made my little channel icon. I was just sort of this is it, this is what I'm doing, and didn't think about it anymore. So it's not really a good story. What region of the United States are you from? I don't detect an accent. I'm actually from Memphis, Tennessee, which is an area that has a very, very distinct accent. My parents are not from Tennessee, and I definitely don't have their accent either. But, I grew up around a lot of people who were not from Tennessee. My mom's best friend was from Chicago. My best friend's parents were from Detroit. It is a city where, especially because of FedEx's headquarters is in Memphis. So there are a lot of people from different parts of the country who live there. I think I just got exposed to so many different American accents that now I just have a very generic accent. When I'm angry and when I'm talking about the South a lot, I do kind of have a Southern accent. And there have been a few instances on the channel where I'm listening back to the audio and I do kind of think it comes out, but I don't think anyone's really noticed it. Let me know in the comments if you're from the South and you've picked up on those couple little words I definitely say with an accent. Do you have any personal ties to any of the cases you've covered or plan to cover? So far I've only covered a few cases from Memphis. I have a lot more, like, really crazy stories that I'm really looking forward to making videos on that are from Memphis. And I'm not necessarily personally tied to those, but just I knew about them because they were in, like, the local news when I was growing up. I was living in a city where there was, like, a case that got, like, national attention a few years ago. I might do that case in the future. It's not a really personal connection, but it was sort of an interesting experience. I do have a personal connection to, like, one case, but I would never cover it on the channel. I just can't. It's a solved case. Maybe if it were unsolved, I'd, like, get it together to do it, but I just don't think I could ever cover it. Do you have a small team of people involved in the channel? No, it's just me. I do the writing, the research, the narration, all the editing, etc., etc. How do you find the cases you cover? Some of them are just things I've seen on crime shows or the news or things like that over the years and just kind of remembered. I had been toying with the idea of starting a channel for probably well over a year before I actually did it. So as I was finding cases and, like, learning about things, I had started writing them down in notebooks, and I have, like, files on my computer and like, organize things by category in case I ever finally went for it and started the channel. I would have a pool of cases to pull from. Basically, how I find a lot of it is I just Google for, like, hours upon hours upon hours. Like, I'll start researching one case, and that sort of leads to another case, and that leads to another case. And then there was a case that was in the same city as one of those cases, and I just kind of, like, fall down the rabbit hole. Did you ever want to go into forensics as a career? I did when I was really young. Like, that thought crossed my mind, especially watching Forensic Files and seeing, like, all the cool things that they were able to do. I was really good at science as a kid, or even up through, college and everything, but I'm terrible at math. I was taking AP courses and everything else, but I'd have to take, like, the lowest level math. I guess it wasn't the lowest, but a very low level math class. I just took what I had to take to graduate, like, high school and college. My first, like, dream job when I was really little, before I got into true crime as heavy, was I was really into space exploration. I really wanted to be an astronaut. But I pretty much by the time I got to, like, 3rd or 4th grade, I realized I wasn't good enough in math to do it. So, I entertained the idea of going into forensics, but I knew I wouldn't be able to do, like, the college level math classes that I need to do to get that degree to do that. About how long does it take to make a video, including research time? This is sort of difficult to answer because, again, a lot of the cases that I've covered, I found in those sort of, like, hours-long research sessions. So I don't know exactly how much time's involved in that. And I do have a day job, so I work on the videos a couple hours each day. And sometimes, like, those chunks of time I get are split up. I would guess, like, 20 to 30 hours per video, with most of that being, like, the research and the writing and the fact-checking and the editing, the script and everything. Do you ever, or have you ever, found a case that you're researching that has really gotten into your head and impacted you in a negative way? If so, how do you decompress? There have been a lot of cases that kind of have gotten to me. I haven't covered a lot of them. The Lee Cutler disappearance really, like, got to me. I actually wanted to do that as the first video on this channel, but it was too difficult for me to do or do well enough. I'm emotionally invested in it, I guess. Out of the ones I actually have covered on the channel, the Jaliek Rainwalker case is probably the one that gets me the most. Obviously, all of the cases I cover, I get emotionally involved with at least a little bit. Kind of the benefit of having this channel, though, is I work on a case, but then I'm working on another one immediately. So, like, I might get upset about a certain case, but then I'm focusing on something else and trying to do that case justice. So that distracts me. And also, seeing the comments that you guys leave, it does make me feel a lot better to know that people care about the people I'm talking about in the videos. I know that sounds like hippy-dippy trippy, like, it doesn't actually change anything. They're still missing or they were still murdered or whatever, but it definitely does help me just to know that there are other people in the world who that matters to and who care about these people. What made you decide to do case files? Was it intimidating to start a channel after many others have been established? Yes, it was very intimidating. Like I said, I wanted to do it, and then I wimped out and didn't do it, and went back and forth for a year, at least. I forget exactly how long. Seeing all these great channels, on the one hand, it made me want to, make content of my own and, tell a lot of stories that were important to me. But on the other hand, people are already doing it so well. And I knew, especially in the beginning, I wouldn't be able to compete. I definitely wouldn't be on that same level, and I'm definitely not now. I'm always trying to improve, and maybe one day I'll be at a really high level of content, but at some point I just kind of had to go for it and see what happened, and so far it's been going really well, so I'm glad I finally got the courage to do it. Again, thank you all so much for your support. It really does mean a lot to me. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this Q&A, and if you think I should do more of them in the future. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.